Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2014 found footage horror film 21 Days. The film is written and directed by Kathleen Behoon and it stars Max Hambleton, Whitney Noble, Mickey River and Eduardo Roman. Right. This focuses on a group of three people who are making a documentary on this one particular supposed haunted house in America. It comes with, if you like, a challenge, this house, as nobody has ever lived or managed to live in this house beyond 21 days. They all end up leaving, and many of them who do leave before the 21 days, horrible things have happened to them or happened to them further down the line. So they go around interviewing all the locals, they get all the history on this house, and then there's three of them. There is Jacob, Shauna and Kurt. They head into this house, determined to spend 21 days in this house. As you could imagine, as the days go on, things get more and more intense, and they realise that in actual fact, their lives might in fact be in danger. Right. What are my thoughts on 21 Days? Well, I've never seen this one before. This one was recommended to me. So thank you for that. As you guys know, if you follow my content, you know that I'm a big fan of found footage. Always looking for a new found footage film that I haven't seen before. I'll pretty much give any of them a go because the budgets don't really matter on a found footage film. You can still, I've seen some very satisfying found footage films that have been made on shoestring budgets, and some of the most popular found footage films of all time have been made on shoestring budgets. So I really enjoyed the setup of this one. I mean, you could argue that the strength and weakness of this found footage film, depending on how you look at it, is it follows the tried and tested blueprint to a found footage type film. Going and interviewing the locals, getting the history of this house, setting it all up, the legacy and the history, and interviewing all these experts and locals, and about just how horrific this house has been over the years. You get the cocky filmmaker who, if you like, doesn't believe any of it really. He's just wanting to do this documentary for his own personal gain, really, because if he lasts 21 days in there, some network will pick it up, sort of thing, and then he feels like he's on his way as a filmmaker, sort of thing. And then you've got the camera set up around the house, and as the days go on, things start happening. Small things initially, and then it really, really escalates. So to this frenetic conclusion, as you could imagine. So it does not stray from the path of what you would consider to be a tried and tested blueprint for found footage. And as I said, you could either see that as a strength or as a weakness. Now, I have seen many found footage films that try to play with the formula a little bit in their own way, and sometimes it really works for their advantage, and sometimes it really, really doesn't. If you like, they haven't really taken any risks with the format here. They've just gone for a tried and tested one. And for me, I for the most part, I got a real kick out of this found footage film. I thought it was very, very watchable. It ticked a lot of the boxes that I want from a found footage film. I was really, for me, I think that the real quality of a good found footage film as well is, when you get like these long still shots of what appear to be nothing, and you find yourself staring at the screen, looking for something to happen, like, something to fall off the wall or a chair to move or whatever. And sometimes nothing happens. But that's clever filmmaking, in my opinion, because they've got you looking to see if anything happens. And then later on, things will happen. And, and sometimes you might let your guard down a little bit. And it really, really gets you. But yeah, without actually being really in your face, this one. And I wouldn't describe this as terrifying. I have seen some found footage films that you know, when it all gets really chaotic at the end, and you can really feel that terror and fear through the screen, and it's really affecting. I'm not sure I would describe this as that. I mean, don't get me wrong, the last 5-10 minutes of the film do get a little bit like that, but I never really felt like I was in the house with them. And again, that's a real skill, I think, to do in a found footage film, to kind of draw you in so that you feel you're there with them. So again, I'm not saying they did anything particularly wrong there. I just never really felt like I was there with them in the moment. But there was some pretty effective. Again, I hesitate to call them effects because they were probably very practical, all the stuff that they did here, but it did its job. You know, you get tables flying around here and there, you get doors closing and creaking behind people, you get like pictures turning up with like blood soaked pentagons all over them and all that kind of stuff, and it all adds to this bubbling tension that's going along, because again, you've got this cocky filmmaker who's not having any of it. He basically thinks it's a load of old twaddle. You know, I mean, it does get on your nerves a little bit because there's quite obviously things going on that can't be explained, and he's still burying his head in the sand. And this character was frustrating because you're just kind of thinking you've got absolutely no respect for the history or legacy of this house, so therefore you're asking for trouble. You know, I'm one of these where I would never really have a go on a Ouija board because I don't want to tempt fate. You know, I wouldn't want to try and anger a spirit or anything just for my own personal entertainment, because I wouldn't want to tempt fate. I'm not saying anything would happen, but I wouldn't want to tempt fate. I wouldn't want to pretend, in error, invite something in that I shouldn't. And this leader, Jacob guy, leader of this documentary crew, for me, he felt like it felt to me like he was inviting trouble. And the other two, one of them was his girlfriend, Shauna, the character. You know, she's the one that gets very, very terrified first, very quickly, by everything that's going on. And then the other guy, Kurt, he follows suit fairly quickly after. And he just wouldn't budge, if you like. He couldn't get past his own personal gain from getting to these 21 days, even though any rational person would be out of that house with some of the things that were going on. So it kind of stretches believability to some degree, because, you know, not all characters here act like you would expect a real person to act, regardless of how much you want to stay there for 21 days. Some of the creepy shit that happens in this house, I wouldn't be trying to leave. I'd be jumping through a window to get out, sort of thing. That's how bad it gets. So, before it leads up to its like terrifying climax. So, yeah, if you're a fan of found footage and you've never seen 21 Days, trust me, you could do far worse than this. It ticks a lot of found footage boxes. It's not, as I've said, what you would describe as terrifying or anything like that. It's not Hell House type fear or Grave Encounters or Borderlands or any of the elite found footage, as far as I'm concerned. But it's not a million miles away from some of those, and it does a lot of things really quite well. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this review. I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.